Why are you here? Not in intermission this morning. Why are you here at Wycliffe? I think that we can answer in a typical way of, I'm here to make sure that we have the most affordable insurance plan. I'm here to make sure that the funds go to the field. I'm here to make sure the funds are actually raised to go to the field. I'm here to provide executive leadership to 3 or 4 departments. We can answer it in that way. But what I'm asking, just to take a minute for us to think about is, why are you here at Wycliffe? What is it within you as a person that really is resonating with this work? What really keeps you motivated and inspired to be part of it? Or how about this way? What are your passions and affinities? What things are you connected to as a person because of who you are and who God has created you to be? I'm here because I love the idea of church planting and God's kingdom growing. And before you plant the church, I love the idea of planting Jesus in a neighborhood first and the words of Christ being present before the church is planted. But I'll save that sermon for another day. But each of us have certain passions, and we were created in the image of God, but reflecting diversity. And our certain passions are actually the foundation of why we're here, why we get excited about certain things, and why we get excited about other people being part of what we're a part of. So we thought it would be nice this morning just for you to hear a few examples of staff among us and really what they're doing right now because of who they are as people and how they are inviting others in to be part of the Bible translation movement here in the U.S. So, without further ado, actually, let me say one thing. A while ago, we did this Adopt a Project campaign thing, and I think I called Dan and Doug out in intermission, and I said, yeah, you guys are doing this 24-hour cycle ride soon, right? Well, they took me up on the challenge, and so they're the first ones that are going to share, but I'm pretty excited that they followed up with it, and I'll invite Dan, Maury, and Doug Haig up now to share. Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I have the clicker. There we go. It is great to have the opportunity to be here this morning and to share with you a little bit about what makes us tick as individuals. And as Tim sort of shared, the most effective way for us to really minister in God's kingdom is to really minister through the passions that God has given to us. It gives us a sense of joy and a sense of life, and yes, even a sense of accomplishment in the ways that we can interact with the body of Christ and with this world that He's placed us in which we are called to be His ambassadors. So this morning, it's a great pleasure to be able to tell you a little bit about a way that Doug and I are engaging with a greater audience in telling them about the work of Bible translation and inspiring them to be a part of a specific project. Now, I need to give you a little bit of background on this because Tim's a little bit incorrect in the idea that he called us out and that we somehow really had this sense of oh, well, I guess we got to do this now, sort of thing. But to give you a little of the backstory on this, for well over 2 years now, Doug and I have been meeting together just as friends, meeting to pray together on Mondays over our lunch hours. Doug was actually one of the very first people that I met here at Wycliffe when my family and I moved down here 3 years ago. My cousin recruited him to come and help us move in. And one of the very first things that we connected on that very day was the fact that both of us really enjoyed the sport of cycling. Immediately, we're moving boxes in and such, and my wife is telling us where to go and what to do, and we're standing there in the kitchen talking about bikes. And for those of you who get the chance to talk to Doug or to myself on any normal occasion, you know that it doesn't take long in that discussion till one of those topics will come up and somehow we will lead to cycling. So for about the past 2 years, Doug and I have been conferring about, hey, it would be really nice to do something with cycling to really engage in the work of Bible translation and to possibly help fund a project, to do that sort of thing. And we had talked about a lot of different epic events that we might consider being a participant in, but nothing really seemed to come together, and they all seemed a bit impractical. And then a little bit over a year and a half ago, I remember walking by Doug's cubicle just to say hello to him, and he had this look on his face, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And he goes, I've got it. We need to do a 24-hour ride. I'm like, oh no. I'm up for lots of challenges, but that one threw me for a loop there initially. So we started talking about this. This is a picture of me and Doug. As we were talking about this, we thought, well, if we're going to do something along these lines, it would be good to do some sort of benchmark. Well, this was a picture of us at the beginning and the end of last year's Cross Florida ride, which is a route that goes from the east to the west across the state in one day. So that's 170 miles. And so we did that in a total elapsed time with stops of 10 hours, 15 minutes, and we were fairly pleased with that, and we felt that that set a good benchmark. So when Doug started this idea of the 24-hour challenge and we started getting serious about this, we started thinking, well, where would we ride? What would we do? And one day, just out of curiosity, we thought, well, what is the distance from Orlando, from our headquarters here to the very tip of Key West? 363 miles, if you didn't know. And so we started doing a little math, and we thought, hey, that's doable. So this is kind of what we landed on. And honestly, this was back in, I would say, November. We really solidified what we were going to do, and we decided we're going to ride to the Keys, all in one day, one 24-hour period. Now, some of you may be left with the lingering question, seriously, why would you do this?
Well, just a quick answer to that is I never went looking for cycling. Cycling came after me. And some of you may remember in 2007, I was challenged to ride a bicycle across the country for Vision 2025 and Bible translation. And I will never forget this mini explosion that went off in my heart and in my spirit that very day. And 2 weeks later, I started riding my bike to work to train for a cross-country ride that we did in 2007. One of the outcomes of that ride was raising funds for audio scripture projects among the Kekchi people in Guatemala, and I saw the fruit of that ride in launching over 900 audio scripture listening groups among the Kekchi. I came back from that experience, the joy of cycling, newly discovered, and seeing some of the fruit and how a sport could be used to raise awareness and funds. And it wrecked me for the rest of my life. So when Dan and I started, talking about what we could do together, we took this really seriously. Well, how do we pick a project that could even come close to the type of synergy that I personally experienced in Guatemala? There was a five-way ad hoc partnership and lots of synergy to see all these listening groups launched, and it connected our churches denominationally, that was part of our 2 and a half ordeal of praying is, Lord, help us find all these connections. We want to see something that'll have an eternal impact on a people group. And so that was where we started. And I'll never forget when we got to the point of actually choosing, sitting at the computer looking on Insight at the PIT team's fiscal year 15 current projects list, and they were under the category of Bible translation, there were over 140 projects. There's twice as many today. I just looked yesterday. But out of that 140, I thought there's so many stories and so many connections and so much behind all of those translation projects. We don't know any of those stories. And for days, I would look at that project list for 20, 30 minutes saying, Lord, how on earth, how do you pick a project? And finally, I came to a point of surrender, and I prayed the Bernie May prayer. Some of you may know Bernie's prayer and how they interacted with the Basotho people. But he prayed, Lord, help me fall in love with the people group. And so I thought, there's only one way to do this, and that is, Lord, help me fall in love with a people group that I don't know. And so that prayer, and the next time I sat down at the computer at that huge projects list, I was scanning it once again, and all of a sudden, it was like there was only one project out of all of them, and that was this one, the Akebu. How many of you have ever prayed for the Akebu people? All right, lots of hands. You remember the second A to Z book, children's book, about the Akebu to Zapotec. 8, 9 years, my mind flashed back 8, 9, 10 years ago, sitting down and every night devotions with my 2 daughters. This is slightly posed, but it is, about 7 or 8 years old. But we used to pick 1 or 2 people groups every night and pray for them that they'd have the Bible in their own language. So to find the Akebu on that list, and that translation had started 5 years ago, I took it personally. This is an answer to our prayers. And I got very excited about the potential of the Akebu being our project. So the bottom line is, if you want to fall in love with a people group, start praying for one.
As you can see up here on the screen, this is giving you just a little bit of an informative view of where the Akebu people are approximately located. There are around 70,000 speakers of that language, and as Doug said, that this project started about 5 years ago, and they're making great progress. One of the neat things that we've been both learning throughout this process is we were talking about how are we going to go about marketing this? How are we going to go about engaging the broader audience? Well, unfortunately for me, that meant Facebook. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've only been on Facebook as of, I think, yesterday for 1 year. All right, I was one of those archaic holdouts and just kind of wanted to stay away from that. And if you ever look on my Facebook page, you see it's a sorry excuse for a Facebook page. But we decided, hey, we need to use these social networking avenues to really do a good job of promoting what we're doing. So we started up a Facebook page under the name Spoken Word. Get it? Spoke and Word. Good. Since this is being recorded for posterity, I need to give my father credit for that and disavow all personal input. So we started this Facebook page, and it's been really a great place for us to point people to not only the work we're doing, but to really engage them in it, chronicling some of our training along the way, some of the lessons that we've learned. We have other various bits of media surrounding this effort. But there's been one really amazing thing that has come out of this Facebook page and using social media in this way. And I'm going to let Doug tell you a little bit more about this because this has just been amazing.
Just quickly wrapping up here. We only dreamed of actually connecting with the translator through Facebook, and that's exactly what happened. Turned out Jacques and Mark Susuke are Togolese and are translating for the Akebu today. And Jacques is on Facebook, and he's actually knows his way around. He as soon as we let him know about this, he was sharing and posting, and so we've been really able to engage with him directly. The picture on the right there is Jacques and John and one of the others on the translation team. That was a prayer post as they were getting ready for James to go to production. He asked us to pray for that. This was when they were at a vernacular web building workshop in Kara, Togo. It was a JAR-sponsored event. The funny thing is that Jacques posted this prayer request as they're creating this Akebu website, and then I saw how JARS on their Facebook page had posted prayer for the same event in Kara, Togo, and I thought, oh, I know somebody who's at that workshop. And then here's another prayer request. This one was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Jacques posted a prayer for healing for the group, and he added this Akebu passage from Luke 13:12. You are healed of your sickness, and I could tell that this was a burden that they were experiencing with health needs on the team. And I asked him if we could pray for the team by first name, and he messaged me and he said, no, I'd rather not share those names publicly, but here are those names. And here's some of the backstory. And so that morning, just a week and a half ago, we were in real time chatting with Jacques, learning about these needs, and it was just very cool to have that kind of a connection and have a kindred spirit in this brother. And this was Monday, 2 days ago. Consultant checking is happening for the Gospel of Luke for the next 2 weeks, so he was asking for our prayers for that. So the hope, and then there's a couple of our posts here. This is a couple of our training rides. And you'll notice the old guy there on the upper right-hand corner, the one with the camera taking pictures of the young cyclist with all the broken spoke issues and the flat tire issues. And we're about done, right?
Yeah, I guess we are about done. Enough pictures of my mishaps. Yeah. But we do want to kind of direct you to consider looking at our Facebook page. Like it, follow it. And on it, there are a couple of really important tabs, and one of which takes you directly to the campaign page on wycliffe.org that allows people to donate directly to this campaign that we've built. And this is a really exciting thing for us to see. It's starting to gain a little bit momentum. We're starting to get some donors there. But then there's also, we decided, hey, we don't know exactly how far we're going to ride in 24 hours. We may reach our goal, we may not. We may surpass our goal. Yeah. So we also have...
Got to make 400 miles. I want my first double century to be a double-double.
Oh, my. He's a beast. Anyway, we also have a form that people can fill out that allows them to fill out a form and pledge per mile if they so choose to take that risk. And so that then gets kind of tabulated, and then after the event is over, they'll be notified with a total amount of the mileage and be redirected to wycliffe.org to complete their donation there. So these are some of the ways that we've been connecting with people. Again, check us out at Spoken Word. We just really appreciate the opportunity to share with you all, and we ask for your prayers, particularly on April 10th. That is when we are going to be heading off. We're going to head off here from the parking lot at 10 in the morning on April 10th and ride through the day, through the night, into the morning, and hopefully end up somewhere on the Keys in the morning. So thank you very much.